Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's edition of Video Game Reviews, I'm going to be covering Kirby and the Forgotten Land for the Nintendo Switch. And this is a game that first released on the Nintendo Switch in March of 2022, and I believe is also the first 3D entry in the Kirby franchise, which is definitely very nice. And, yeah. So I would have to say this is a pretty good game, and you'll see why as I explain what this is about here. One day, so the game takes place, of course, on planet Popstar, or does it? No, that's Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, I think it is. So yeah. How this game goes is that a dark vortex appears over Dreamland, which sucks up everything on the planet in its path. And Kirby is among those that are sucked into the vortex, and he ends up finding himself in an abandoned civilization, informally called the New World, where he discovers that the Waddle Dees from Dreamland are being kidnapped by the native wildlife, aka the Beast Pack. Eventually, he finds a destroyed Waddle Dee town, as well as a chinchilla-like creature named Elflin, who helped the Waddle Dees settle there. And upon being rescued from the Beast Pack, Elflin ends up explaining to Kirby that he and the Waddle Dees had attempted to fight back, but were overwhelmed. Kirby offers to help Elflin rescue the missing Waddle Dees, and the two of them end up setting off together. There's Kirby and Elflin making their way through the New World, rescuing Waddle Dees and defeating the Beast Pack's High Council members. The two discover that King Dedede is acting aggressively and assisting the Beast Pack for unknown reasons. After Kirby fights and defeats Dedede, the latter of them ends up capturing Elflin and escapes. Kirby ends up pursuing Dedede and fights him again. By destroying a hypnotic mask that Dedede was wearing, Kirby ends up freeing him from the Beast Pack's control, and then ascends into their center of operations, Lab Discover, to find Elflin. An abandoned tourist attraction within the lab explains that a powerful extraterrestrial, under the identification tag of IDF-86 had tried once to invade the New World. It was only to be captured by the planet's previous inhabitants and placed in the lab, where its ability to create space-time rifts was researched. And then 30 years after the research began, IDF-86 split into two halves during a warp experiment incident. One half, Elflin, escaped in the chaos, but the other half ended up being placed in permanent suspended animation within Lab Discover's Eternal Capsule. Kirby then ends up meeting the leader of the Beast Pack, a lion named Leongar, who is holding Elflin captive. And Leongar explains that the previous inhabitants of the New World used IDF-86's power to depart for a land of dreams, and that he intends to do the same by reuniting Fecto Forgo with Elflin. And after Leongar is defeated, Fecto Forgo awakens. Awakens, speaking through Leongar, and then they reveal that they had formed the Beast Pack by possessing Leongar and controlling his actions via proxy. They also ended up opening the vortex to Dreamland, using the Beast Pack to hypnotize King Dedede and kidnap the Waddle Dees for labor in order to resume their invasion. They break free from the Eternal Capsule and consume Leongar and the Beast Pack in order to pursue Elflin. When they capture Elflin, the two combine into their original form, Fecto Elfilis. Kirby then manages to weaken Fecto Elfilis enough to free Elflin, but Fecto Elfilis creates a large vortex back to Popstar, setting it on a collision course with the New World. Kirby narrowly defeats Fecto Elfilis by ramming a semi-trailer truck into them, and he and Elflin end up finding themselves back in Dreamland, where the vortex is still open. Using all of his power, Elflin ends up sealing the vortex between the two worlds, thus leaving Kirby behind. And then during the credits, it's revealed that Elflin is able to open his own vortex to Popstar, and the inhabitants of the worlds end up becoming friends. However, Leongar's soul remains trapped in an alternate dimension called Forgo Dreams, which is created by Fecto Forgo's psychic power and populated by phantoms generated by their memories of the Beast Pack. Clawroline who is a member of the Beast Pack and friend of Leongar, discovers a rift in Waddle Dee Town that leads to Forgo Dreams. Upon being sucked into this dimension, Kirby and Elflin rescue Leongar, who is possessed by Soul Forgo. Kirby ends up defeating the possessed Leongar, separating Soul Forgo from his body. Before they can attack Kirby, however, a scarlet butterfly flies into the lab and absorbs Soul Forgo and transforms into Morpho Knight, a Valkyrie-like warrior who feasts on souls to absorb their power. Kirby ends up defeating Morpho Knight and Leongar is properly freed. Soul Forgo partially absorbs Morpho Knight's power and then vanishes in the aftermath. After this, a portal opens within Waddle Dee Town's Coliseum, and a final encounter that's completely optional. Kirby combats the Phantoms of Forgo Dreams as a boss rush before confronting the newly formed Chaos Elfilis. Kirby then defeats Chaos Elfilis in a final battle, and a lingering remnant of their soul approaches Elflin. He accepts it into his heart, allowing his two halves to finally become whole. Yeah, so that is basically a rundown of the story for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And of course, as you go through the levels in this game, you have to rescue various Waddle Dees. And it's important that you rescue as many Waddle Dees as possible, because you need to have a certain amount to have rescued a certain amount in each world in order to be able to fight the boss at the end of each of the worlds. The bosses at the end of each world, I should say. So, yeah, definitely a lot of action in this game, and a lot of the power-ups, of course, and the copy abilities are pretty cool. And, yeah, this is definitely a fun little game. And, of course, I have done a Let's Play of this game on my channel. This was a few years ago, of course. And the rundown that I just gave for this game is how the story is at the moment. I say this because, believe it or not, this game is going to be getting an upgraded version on the Nintendo Switch 2, which will add new story content to the game. So that will definitely be pretty exciting indeed. Now, am I going to play through the new story content for that one? Well, possibly. I mean, maybe if I do an action replay of this game or something, then maybe I might, but I don't really have any idea as of yet. All I know is that the game as it is right now is fantastic, and I'm pretty sure the added story when this game gets its Switch 2 upgrade in August, I believe it is, I'm sure that will be even better. Now, as for this game itself, the story is amazing. The copy abilities, of course, are really good. And mouthful mode, that is definitely very interesting indeed. I mean, getting to drive as a car, who wouldn't want that? So, yeah, this is a fantastic game, as it is. So, I think, for the moment, I'm going to give this game an 8.7 out of 10. And this may very well, of course, change once the story content comes out and I have a chance to play a little bit of that. Or the added story content. But we'll see what happens there. But as it is right now, this is a fantastic game. Really good game. You would definitely have a lot of fun with this. Alright. So, I believe that is going to do it for this episode of Video Game Reviews. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.